what's up guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel again. And in this video we are going to create a new application which will be again in Flutter. And this application is not something new, but yes, if you are a beginner, then this application for you. If you want to try new fonts, how to add new fonts, then this video is for you. If you want to create some responsive application which works on Android, iOS and web, then this particular video and the application which we are going to make is for you. If you want to create some cool designs, then also this video is for you. And we are going to create this project from scratch. If you are someone who thinks that you don't want to start from scratch, then you are really ready to forward a little bit and then you can start. So that's the suggestion. Now I'm gonna show you what I'm going to make. So recently I went to GDG Dev Fest in Nagpur and we created something like this. So you can see this is a GOT app. Already I have made a few videos on GOT application using an API, but yeah, if you are starting in 2019 October, then yes, you can start with this video. And as you can see on the left hand side, I have this iOS simulator, then I have this Android emulator, and then this is Chrome. And yeah, this is working in all these three platforms, as well as the UI is kind of responsive. So that's what we are going to make. And as you can see, we have a slightly different font which you might have seen, right? So that's the idea, and that's the color also we are going to choose. So yes, let's start with this. So I'm gonna use Visual Studio Code. If you want, you can use it, and the source code will also be available on GitHub. So you will press Command Shift P and you can write Flutter new project. I'm gonna name it GOT 2019, let's say. And yes, I'm gonna select a package from here. Okay, where it is going, yeah, so somewhere it will create this package for me, or this particular project for me. And while recording this video, I am using Flutter 1.10.14 if I'm not wrong. So that's basically a dev channel. So if you want, you can use it. Otherwise it should work in 1.10, whatever the minor version is, doesn't matter. Not minor, the patch version doesn't matter. So minor version should be 10, so 1.10 should be there, because otherwise you won't see this web folder which we can see here. So yeah, so everything is here. Now we are already inside this particular project. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna delete everything, as you know already, right? So now we will, first of all, we will import material.dart, flutter material.dart. Then we will write run app. Okay, so before run app we have to create main method. So void main, and then inside it we can have a run app, and then we can have my app. Now we don't have a my app, so we will create a new stateless widget first of all. And here I can say my app, and rather than returning container, I will return a material app, because that's what I need if I want the functionality of material app. Then I can have some theme. Yes, in the theme data I can set the primary color as, let's say, colors.amber. yeah, so amber is my color for the time being. And then I also want to send the font, which I will do later. Now I also want to disable this banner. So the banner, the debug banner, I am disabling. I'll show you what it means. And then in the home part, I'm gonna just say a container. So let's run this application and we will see how it is working. So it's nothing as of now, but yes, there should be something, right? So that's the idea. And then we'll see how we can make it like this. So yeah, this is looking pretty cool. Yep, so let's see if we are able to manage the time. Okay, so it can take few seconds on the first go, and then you can also try running it on your desktop, not desktop, just the browser, which whatever browser you are using. But I'll suggest using Chrome, because Flutter for web is still in very early stage, so there can be few issues with different browsers. And as you can see, we have this blank screen. If I'll make it true, this debug show checked banner, then you can see there is a banner on the top. So we don't want that. That's fine. So we have a container. So now in the lib folder here, I'm gonna create a new file. I'm gonna name it got page.dart. Okay, here I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna use a material.dart, and this time rather than having a stateless widget, I'm gonna have a stateful widget. And yeah, so stateful widget, I'm gonna say got page, and here rather than returning a container, I will return a scaffold. So before doing anything else, I'm gonna just replace it with the got page, and yes, it is done. So we have a white page as of now, but yes, we are going to change it. So back scaffold we have. Now I'm gonna change the background color to, let's say, colors.amber, and yes, it looks something like this, right? This is, and let's try amber accent. Oh, this is, so any color you want, so amber is fine, I guess. So we can use this, and in fact I can have something like color and main color, and we can say colors.amber, and we can save it here, and secondary sec color, and we can say colors.black. Okay, so these are the colors we are gonna use, so I'll just replace it everywhere. So we have this, and we want this title now. So here in the title part, in the app bar section, I'm just going to say app bar. I'm gonna give elevation 0, and then I can set the title text, and I'm going to say got yep. So as you can see, and we can say 2019 if, yeah. So as you can see, the font is slightly different than what we have here, so we want to include this font. So how we are going to do it? So here in this particular directory, I'm gonna create another folder called assets, and inside the assets we can have another folder, let's say fonts, and then in the fonts I'm gonna add a font. So I have this font here, and I can add it here, which is Pacifico Regular, and then in the YAML file we can enable this font section, and yes, let's just do this. And rather than the family name, let's change it to Pacifico, and here we can say asset slash font slash this is Schuyler Regular, so I'm just gonna change it to Pacifico Regular, and yeah, it looks good. And now here in the main.dart, I'm gonna say that font family what I'm gonna use is Pacifico, because this is the family name I gave. Now I'll do a hot restart. It should not work because I added an asset, so we need to rerun this application from scratch, so that whenever you add some assets, especially these fonts, not images, in images cases it works pretty good when you do hot restart, but in case of fonts, yeah, it can take some time. So that's what we are going to do, and yeah, so this is what we have to create, right? So yes, we are on the right track. Let's try this, if we can get something like that. And yes, now it's running, and let's see what font we get. And yes, so yes, you can see we have got 209, and the font is very much similar to this. So this is the idea, this is what we are on the right track. So we have the got page now, and we want some data, right? So what I want to do in the init state, so I'll just override this method, and I will hit an API here. So I'll say fetch data, and I'll create this method below this fetch data, and this is going to be an asynchronous method, and here I can wait for a response, await. And now to fetch data we need some HTTP library. So I'll go back to my pubspec.yaml, and here I will add a new dependency below this HTTP, and yeah, if you want you can give the version, otherwise you can leave it like this, but try to give the version. Right now I'm not giving it because it will fetch the latest version, but yes, if you remember, or you can just browse just check the latest version, or you can use add dependency, this plugin in VS Code, which can, if you will write HTTP, then it will give you so many suggestions. You can select HTTP and it will provide the latest version. So yes, we have the latest version now. And so I'll just uncomment this line again, and I'm gonna use http.get. so this does not understand HTTP, so we need to import it. So we will import it like this: import http dot as http, and now we have this http.get here. Now we need to provide the URL. So for URL, you can just copy and paste from here. So I have this URL here, api.tv maze, and I'm just gonna paste it here. And as soon as we will get the result, I want to print it here, rest.body, so that we can get it. So now in the debug console, I'm just gonna clean everything, and I'm gonna do a hot restart. And then in the child part, or in the body part, what I want to do in the center, in the child, I want to set a text where I can just say res now. So okay, we will set the data later. So let's set data. Okay, we have the data here. Now let's do a hot restart, and we should see, yes, so this is the data which we are getting, which means our API is working fine. But now we are not receiving any data, right? This data is not sufficient for us. So what we can do, so first of all, we need to decode this data, and then only we can use it. So I'm gonna have a variable here, let's say data, and when we are printing this, then after that we can say data is equal to JSON decode. So we need to decode this data. So JSON decode will give you this map object, map basically, where you can have key and value, and by the key you can fetch the value. So that's where I'm gonna pass rest.body here, so that we will have the data, and then we will do a set state, which means that we have the data now. Just to refresh the UI. And so in the beginning the data should be null. If it is not null, then it means that we have the data. So what we will do in the center of the screen, or basically what we can say, if data is not equal to null, then do something, okay, or yeah, so that would be fine. So we will, let's say, have a container. But if it is null, then in the center and in the child, we want to show a circular progress indicator. And yes, what we can do, we can go to into main.dart, and here we can change the accent color to colors.black, so that it looks like this, which is better. Yeah, so this is what we have. And now I'll do a hot restart, and initially it will show this, and then it is gone. So rather than this container, let's say if I want to print this data here, data, so yeah, oh, this is so bad. Yes, so this is how it will look like. So this is the data. This is not what we want. We want something better here. So yeah, that's the tough call. So how we are going to do this, and I'm gonna make a Hindi video of this particular what we should say, of this particular episode or tutorial. Let's call it tutorial. So there will be a Hindi episode. If you will demand it, so just press the like button and write in the comments that I want a Hindi video, and then we will definitely see how many people are actually asking for the Hindi video. So now I want to present change this text from here, and I want to say some data body where I'll pass the context. So we will make a new method here. We will call it data body, and it will have a build context, okay, and then it will have the data. So now it looks something like this, right? So which means we have a column. So what we will do, return a variable, let's say body, and we can have a variable body here, and we can have a column. First of all, we have a column. Then in the children, if you will see, we have this GOT circle avatar. So I'm gonna use a circle avatar, to be honest. This is the circle avatar. We can give it a background image, or whatever image you want to use. So we can use a network image. Now we need to give the image URL. So before doing anything else, let's see how our data looks like, right? So I'm gonna go to this browser, I'm gonna paste this link, and this is how our data looks like. So this is the normal JSON where we can see if I want to see the image, then yes, I have this image field, this image key where we have medium and original, two kind of images. So I can pick the original or medium, whatever you want to prefer. So what I can say that yes, I have the image URL which I can get from the data in the image and then in the, let's say, original. Okay, yep. And then we can pass here the image URL, and yeah, if you want to give the radius, so we can say, let's say 50 radius for the time being. Yes, it looks good, not sufficient, so let's make it 70. Yeah, it is fine, but it should be in the center, right? So let's make it in the center. So we can say cross axis alignment dot center. Oh, will it work, or we have to wrap it in the center? Yeah, so if this is not working for you, then you may need to stretch it or just wrap the circle avatar in the center, and then it should work fine. So yeah, there can be multiple ways of doing things, so this is one way. So this is pretty good, exactly how we want. Now below it we want Game of Thrones title. So as you can see here, we have this name as well. So what I'll do, rather than providing this image URL exactly, or this is fine. So we want a text below this. So I'm going to use a text here, and I'm gonna say data and then name. And yes, we have Game of Thrones. Now I want to give some gap between them, so I can use a sized box, and then the height should be 20. Yes, this looks much better, right? So we have Game of Thrones, and then below this we want to show all the episodes. So basically, as you can see, this is a grid view. So after this text I want to add this sized box again, and then I want to have something like a grid view. So here I can say show grid data. Okay, show grid widget. So something like that should work. And here I can make another method on the top of it, show grid widget, and then it should return grid view dot builder. Okay, so now what it takes, right? So grid view dot builder, first of all it takes item count. So we'll see how, where are our episodes. So here you can see we don't have episodes. Okay, so in the embedded we have the episodes, okay, and then we have all their properties. So embedded and episodes. So what we can say here, we can say data embedded, so embedded, and then there is episodes, and then we have the length. So it's the item count. Then it wants some grid delegate. So how you want to represent your grid, like how many columns should be there. So we can say sliver fixed grid delegate with fixed cross axis count. So cross axis count is right now 2, right? And then we have something called an item builder, where we will have the context as well as the index. So then we can return a card probably. Yes. So now if we'll see, yeah, we cannot see anything because we don't have any data here, which is fine. We should return a card. This is what it means. We are getting an error here for some reason, because we don't have anything to show, right? Okay, let's do a hot restart and then see if we get the error, because we should not have any error, right? Okay, so we are still getting some error because this grid view is of so much size. So what we need to do, so when we are using this show grid widget, we want to expand it in the overall screen. So we need to wrap it up with a widget called expanded, and then in the child part we can use this, and now this error should go. Yes, Now if I'll refresh it, I'll do a hot restart, and yes, I see no errors. Now we have this, right? We have all this grid here, but the problem is that I want some padding, because here I can see there is some padding. So here I can in the grid part I can wrap it with padding, and I can give it 16 padding, and it looks good to me at least. Yes, I guess so, but in between there is not enough padding. So main axis spacing, cross axis spacing, let's say we call it 10. Yeah, it looks better. Or let's try to make it 16 only. Yes, so this looks much better. Now let's also give it a cross axis, or sorry, main axis spacing, so that it looks equal. Yeah, so this is better. This is what we want. So we have all the cards now. What else I want is that, you know, this card is, it should look there should be some rounded corner, so I can give a shape and I can say rounded rectangular border. So now I need to give it a border radius, which can be, let's say, for the time being 15, and yeah, it looks good. Let's do one thing, let's try to make it 20. Yes, so it's looking much better, right? So we have this data now, and yeah, I guess this is looking much better than this version as well. So yeah, we are trying to get the best out of it. So now we have this data. So how we are going to get the episodes, I'm gonna just copy it here, and we will have here the episode, and I'm gonna just pass the index, so we will get the episode. And then in the card we have a child property, so we are going to use a stack here, and in the stack, because we want to have some children's, and then we are going to first of all add an image. So we are going to use episode, and then again image, and then original, let's say, and then it should display the image. Yes, this is looking fine. But now I want to stretch it, so I can say stack fit should be expand, so it should expand. Yeah, and now I can give the fit, so box fit dot cover, and yes, it looks good. But yes, if I will make it loose, oh, so it's losing somewhere this you know, this curves, we are losing the curves. So for that we can say that, yeah, we want the clipping to be anti-alias, so that we can get this kind of thing, right? So this is much better. This is looking similar to this, and yeah, I really appreciate that it's working like how I expected. So yeah, so we are done with this image.network. This is looking pretty good. Now we want to show this title of the episode. So if I go here, then you can see here in the episode section we have this name, season, and number. So these are the three things which we want. So first of all we want the name, and then we'll see if season or number is required or not. So for name, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have a text, okay, but that also in the bottom. Okay, so either we can use alignment, or we can use position. So let's try with alignment, if that works properly for us. So alignment dot bottom left, okay, and then in the child we can have a text where we can just say episode and name. Let's see. Okay, so we are getting it, but the problem is that text color is black. So we will give some style here, and we can set the color to white, and yes, this is looking much better. But the problem again is that, you know, we need some padding here. So if, let's say, alignment, we are we getting any? Yeah, we are just getting height factor and width factor. Let's try to add padding here, and yes, 8 padding is more than sufficient. It is looking good to me, especially I don't mind. This is much better um, than what we have right now. We want this as well, season 1 episode 2 and something like that. So as you can see, we have season and number, so we can show this as well. So after this alignment, we can have a positioned widget, or we can maybe use alignment again. It's totally your call, if because it's already in the center and all that. So we can say alignment that dot top right, if we get that, yes. And then in the child, we can have a container, and yes, we have the container now. Then we need to give it some height or width, no idea. Let's try with child, and then we will say text, okay. And then we can say season, and then there will be, let's say, date. Oh, 1 second guys, episode, and the name of that season, and yes, and then this. And if you can see, yes, we have season and season number. Then we can do the same thing here, and we will paste it here, and then we will say episode, and we can just say number, and yes, we are getting it. So now we will give some padding as well. So const as insets dot all. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty lengthy video, but don't worry, it is gonna teach you so many things. So yes, and then we can have some decoration as well. So decoration, box decoration, and if you want to give it some color, yes, so if you want to give it main color, then it's fine. This is how it will look like, but I just want to change it a little bit so that we can do a little differentiation between them. So I'll try to give it amber accent this time, and yes, this looks much better, because or you can also try pink accent, if that can give you a feel. I don't like that. Black 12. Oh, black is another bad stuff. White is looking good to me. I mean, it's totally your call. I'll go with the original design, so I'll prefer amber accent here. And if you want, you can give some border to this card, and maybe then it will look good. So yes, if you want, we have some border information here. If let's try this, and let's try to give it some color. No, it will not work. So if you want, you can change it with container, and then you can give some border and all. But right now I think this looks good. The only thing is that we don't want this sharp border here, so we can have something called border radius, and border radius dot circular, and then circular takes, I guess, we don't want that, I guess, border radius dot only, and we want it to circular from bottom left, right? So bottom left, radius dot circular, and we can say 15, let's say. Will it work? Yes. So it looks much better now, and it makes sense. Let's make it 16, and yeah, this is much better. So this is what we have, this is what we created. Now I'll run it in Chrome as well, and then we will see how it is looking like. Okay, so then we will see if I want to create a next page for this. So right now this is just a single page application, but yes, this is for learning. So yeah, now we will try to run it on Chrome. So I am just gonna end it. I'm not running it on Android simulator emulator, but it will work for sure. So we are going to select Chrome here, and I'm gonna just run it. I'm gonna also show you the logs. So it's running on Chrome in debug mode, and building application for the web, and depending on the web, we might need to do a few changes depending on the size and all. So that's the only change we need to do. I'll show you how. So this is the overall thing with this particular application. If you want more videos on this, then we can make a design more better. We can also make a different page where we can show few things like all the details of these episodes with animations. As you can see, this is the web version, but yeah, this is again 2, and because this is a much larger screen, we want to use the screen and we want to show 3 at once, or 3 items in the row. So that's we can do. Yes, this is looking good in this scenario, but when we try to stretch it, it is not looking that good. So what we will do, here first of all, this circle on the top should be a little larger in case it is we are using web. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go here in the circle avatar. Here we have radius 170, so I'm gonna use media query dot of context dot size dot width. If it is greater than 600, then I'm gonna say, let's say 150, otherwise we will use 170. Okay, and let's try this. Okay, so this is okay. As you can see, right now it is 150 now. If I'll do a little bit compress it, then you can see the size has been decreased itself. Now similarly, we have the grid count as 2, so we will use the same logic from here, and we can do more customization depending on the size we are getting. So right now I'm just using it for 600, but yes, for more responsive applications we can change it in the future, and I'll change it. So let me know if you want more content on that. Oh, where it is? Yes, so I'm just gonna copy it from here, and here I'm gonna paste it. If it is greater than this, then 3, otherwise let's say 2. So yes, now if it is a bigger screen, you can see we have 3 here, and yes, it's looking so good. What I can do, let's do one more thing. This text appearing here, let's make it bold and a little bigger. Okay, so where is my text? And I can just say text scale factor to 2, and then I'm gonna also say text style and font weight dot bold. Is it helping? Oh, let's do a hot restart and then only we can see. Okay, so we are getting some error. I guess it's happening because of this scale factor, if I'm not wrong. Yes, and let's do a hot restart, and it should look good. Yes, it is bold, but because our font is regular, so that's why it is not working. But yes, that's fine, I guess. We will be happy with this. Let's try to add some font size ourselves. So font size, and let's make it 30 this time, and then it should look better. Yeah, it's not working here for some reason. I don't know what's the reason here, but yeah, there can be few bugs in the web version. I'll just finish it and I'll try to run this again on web, and then let's see if that works. So I have already taken so much time. I'll be back in the next video, but if you want me to make more video on this particular series, then also press the like button right now, and subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber, and write me in the comments as well that you want this series to continue, so that you can learn more animations and more good cool designs. Oh, Game of Thrones, this is looking much better now. Okay, so what I did, I actually increased the size of some other widget which I was not targeting, but yes, it looks good. If you'll see, 1 second guys, so this Game of Thrones thing is looking so cool. I'm gonna just copy and paste it in that department as well. So here, I guess, oh, I didn't change this one as well. I changed the font size here only in this particular name. So yeah, I will copy this part and I'll try to paste it in this text as well. So that's why we are trying to see. Okay, so font weight dot bold, and then font size, let's make it 25 here. And now if you will see, okay, is it working? Let's try to do a hot restart, and yes, winter is coming, the King's Road, it is looking pretty good, right? I don't know for what reason this text is now not in center. I guess this is happening because of Okay, so let's make it center title true, so that yes, we can get in the center. This is looking much better, but yes, when we can see the size is smaller than this is not a good size. So I'm gonna just copy this part again, and when I'm using 25 here, I'm gonna just say if it is 1600 then 25, otherwise we can use 50. And let's try again. Yeah, this is fine. So this is what you need to do, guys. This is the responsive app which we could create, and yeah, this is looking pretty good. And I'll do one more thing. I'll just expand it a little bit, and oh, 1 second. So this is looking good, pretty good to me at least. And I'm just gonna take a screenshot here of this particular section. Yes, this is looking pretty good, guys. And now let's run it once more on the iOS screen. 1 second. So iOS is here, and let's try. So the idea is that using media query to have different sizes adjusted to different screens. So that's been the idea, and I'll create a lot more videos on this so that you can understand how to actually deal with this thing in real world applications. So that's my next target. But before that, let's try to run these kind of series where you can learn. So press the like button right now, and it really helps because we put a lot of effort in the content. And yes, this is looking pretty cool. I am really happy that what we could achieve. So I'm gonna take another screenshot. So thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And yeah, keep watching and let me know if you want more content on this particular series. So we'll definitely do it. So subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care. And yes, the source code is available on GitHub.